Wozani siphunge itiye bantwana ngoba la sengisuke ngaphazamiseka lapha hayi le ndoda ade ibheka ubonda ibuyile. Hayi inkinga ukuthi-ke ayikho clean le ndoda. Angazi into kwenzakalani empilweni yayo. Hayi madoda hey. Manje ngikhandela-ke i-sinus. Ukuthi-ke sometimes so sikhulume indaba ye-nature ye-disease ukuthi sometimes you have some symptoms and it's not necessarily because it's a biological problem. Izifo ey'ningi zibuye zidalwe izinto ezenzeka emoyeni and your body will respond in a certain way to tell you ukuthi something is wrong. Anyway. Ngibona ngazi ekhaya o-ND ukuthi ngibuye ngiyidlalele ijazi kakhulu isikhathi esiningi njengendoda ehlezi icabanga idingida. Yebo Tanya. Now yeah, njengoba kade ngishilo ukuthi this topic ibalulekile ngendlela esimanga and ngizozama ukuthi ngi-break it down namhlanje. I had a brief discussion about it negang izolo siyikhiphini. Yeah, Tanya, yabona nje angisho ukuthi some of these symptoms happen because of something that's happening on the other side. So uzoshaya ogwava nama-tea leaves laba until when? Oyifani nje lokhuzana because I know it used to be really bad in the past until I dealt with some spiritual issues. And I learned, so, okay, this thing picks up if there's an unclean spirit hovering around somewhere in my proximity. Then sengiyazi okay. Khona-ke ungcolile la eduzane. Akayazi le ndoda le ukuthi and why bengasho ukuthi esidlulile emhlabeni ukuthi bazoshonela ukuthi sidlulile nokho kambe kuthiwani akakhothanywa kambe ngesizulu abasho ngani sikhotheme bathuleleni. Anyway, asikho lapha bengikhuluma indaba ye-poverty trauma. Ngiyibiza nge-poverty trauma, angazi ukuthi kuthiwani ngilabani. I don't know if anyone has done a study on this thing, but from iso lami njengenkosi ngibuka la emhlabeni siyidingida lento namakhehla bengibonisa naye ukuthi yabona yini ukuthi nginjani la. Inkulu inkinga yomuntu omnyama nenhlupheko. And it reminds me of a point la ngisho khona in my youth ukuthi angifuni umuntu ohlupheke kakhulu. And my understanding was that yabona ngamane uzwane nomuntu okhule right nomuntu ohluphekile because kunalento yomuntu ohluphekile ethi they don't understand imali nama-boundaries emali nokuthi imali iya-corrupt igcine kuphi nokuthi imali egcineni kosuku is not important. They don't look at life from a perspective of life, but they look at life from a perspective ukuthi I need to secure my next plate. And once they are able to secure their next plate, they want to show everybody else ukuthi bayakwazi bona ukuthi badle kusasa. That's why unenkinga ukuthi abantu abamnyama bathi bengaba rich uthatha imali bayibuyisele emaJalimaneni, bayibuyisele emangisini, bayibuyisele ementalyaneni ngalezi zinto abasuke bezenza zokukhombisa ukuthi bona they have made it. It's really bad. I call that poverty trauma. Now, stay with me, mangikhuluma lento ngoba it doesn't end there ekutheni senze lento yokubukisa nokuyiqhayisa. Ihamba ifike lapha ekutheni asikwazi ukwenza izinto ezisimpule emphakathini yethu. Asikwazi ukuganana, asikwazi ukulungisa amaphutha emphakathini, asikwazi ukuhlela izinto emphakathini ezizosithuthukisa ngoba sinalento yokuthi sahlupheka kakhulu ekuncaneni kwethu. Iyona lento ihamba izifike ngisho kwi-government ukuthi abantu who are in the government sphere grew up behlupheka. Abanye bazi bayohlupha phesheya behlushwa ukuthi bakwi-exile endaweni ebengazazi. Now sebedlulile ehluphekeni, nansi imali chini kuvelele khasitshe apha, yabo, and they care nothing about what happens ezansi as long as bona bedla ngoba yazi ekhaya thina sakhula siphela ngeklabishi. In some cases it's even worse. Some people grow up kuqotsha amakhasi emaklabishi. Makutholakala impuphu, hey, it's a great occasion. Yabo. Asingakubalekela sihlupheke kakhulu. Sihlupheke kakhulu and ukuhlupheka kwethu kusilandela sezongena eduku egodini. We embody the spirit of poverty. We have a trauma and poverty. Sihlukumezile i-poverty. Sihlupheka kakhulu, sihlukumeza inhlupheko, and we are not talking about it. We're not talking about inhlupheko yenu ukuthi isize yafika la. Iyo lento leyenza emqondweni bengathi ayisebenzi. Nithathe izingane nihambise ukuthi ziyofundiswa izitha. Ingane yomuntu omnyama ifundwe izitha. Bakithi mina nginazi njani manje nje. Nithathe izingane niyokhokha u100,000 ngonyaka ukuze ifundiswe isitha. Leyo ngane le izocabanga kanjani mayelana nomphakathi wakubo. It's so funny because I saw this in varsity ngisemncane. Hey, and it hurt me so much ukuthi how kanti kwenzeka kanje kulezi zingane ezifunde kuma ebelungwini, because when they get to varsity bejwayele ukuba abangani nalezi genge le enye. Bafike varsity bathola ukuthi kuyakhompithwa ke manje akusancengene, and mase kukompithwa la varsity i-friendship like it's so bad ngalendlela ukuthi sasithi masingena e-lecture theatre naturally kuhlukanwe amandiya kodwa lapha, abelungu bodwa lapha, abantu la, and then there'll be that one black guy uhleli labelungu lapha, yabo. It's really bad. And then it gets to a point la manje sekufanele afunde ukuthi yazini kahle kahle abantu efake ngibe seduze kwabi la bangakithi, because makufaka ngiyokwenza i-study la lo ushaya imoto ahamba yekubo sisale sodwa la iRes, yabo. So ibhlungu le nto because you set up your kids for i-trauma yokuthi actually nithi racism, yeah, you set up your children for i-trauma yokuthi actually racism is there and ayidlali, yabo, because ngoba nina nakhula nihamba ngeenyawo ningenazo izicathulo, manje senibona ukuthi ngoba senemali izingane zenu hayi azifunde kangcono, ayikho into engcono ngokufunda ebelungwini, yabo, because it tells me ukuthi you have this fear of poverty so much instead ukuthi ulungise izinto ezenzeka ey'koleni zabantu abamnyama because yabo iy'kole zabantu abamnyama zibheda nje ngoba black parents instead of getting involved in that thing bathathe iy'ngane zabo bahambise kwamanye abantu, and then bese kusala ama-parents who might not be educated enough to understand, othisha babathi 1 1 2 1 2 kwenzeke noma yini. Poverty trauma. We're so traumatized we can't even think clearly ukuthi lento le decision engiyithathayo njengamanje will have ama-impact angaka generations later. And it got worse after varsity ukuthi uthola ukuthi labafana laba babelungu mase sifika emsebenzini, ay shame, they get treated differently because ufika lapha ilokhuzana imanager umlungu enkampanini, CEO umlungu, chairman umlungu lapha, yabo, and no one is saying, but izinto ngendlela ezenzeka ngakhona uyabona ukuthi oh okay, yabo, even ama-lecturers they're so nithi racism, mina I don't call it racism, mina ngikubiza ngokuthi khona lento esho uDr Francis Cresswell Singh, she was very correct kuleyo nto leyo ukuthi it's not racism, it's a supremacy complex. Abelungu bakholwa ukuthi ibona izingwele emhlabeni. It's not that ukuthi ke bazonda abantu abamnyama yini, cha, ingoba bayitshela ukuthi they are the big cheese in the universe, so everyone ungaphansi kwabo. That's what it is, not racism. It's not ukuthi ke ngoba umnyama, it's because abelungu bona they believe ukuthi everybody else ungaphansi kwabo ibona phezulu. So even ama-lecturers e-university will see ukuthi oh lo mfana lo uhlakaniphile, okay, uhlakaniphe kakhulu lo kunalabelungu abala. And you know I remember I caught one of my lecturers making a very racist joke. I call it a white supremacy joke. This. And bahleka abantu, they didn't pick up the insult behind the joke. And I'm like, no. Yabo. And he was taken aback. Yabo. Yeah, he thought he was going to be smart. A German guy, you know. But I can read between the lines. I'm like, now, so it's not that there's this activity, they are racist because they are black. It's a supremacy issue. Bazizwa bona be umakoya benamandla phezu kwa wonke umuntu, not just abantu abamnyama, wonke umuntu ba uNkulunkulu emhlabeni, yabo. When they talk about dominion over the earth, bayithatha serious leyo nto leyo, yabo. So they're here, they think a position yabo is one of dominion. When they're interacting with you as a black person, they immediately assume ukuthi they are more intelligent than you, yabo. They have more power than you, yabo. Well, whatever you think, whatever you do is secondary, yabo. Ilapho lo game. And then thina, because we are traumatized i-poverty, sithatha iy'ngane zethu sizobathi fuhle kubona, sikhokhe imali enkulu lapha ko-Koro schools, and then we get shocked when something racist happens. Kanti siphusha ile trauma yokuthi sisaba ukuhlupheka. Poverty trauma. Exactly, Ty. Mugabe was on the money. Mugabe may have been a victim of poverty trauma naye, because I remember my grandmother was talking about him and as a student at Fort Hare. I think he went to Fort Hare. I think one of my uncles had some interaction with him there as a Fort Hare naye. So some comments that my grandmother used to make about Umgabe was that Umgabe was a very intelligent guy, and Umalume Shoti would say this and this and this about him. I don't want to talk personal things, but yeah. But yes, so Umgabe was on the money, you know. He understood what was going on. Yeah, but the problem ukuthi Umgabe did not take care to make sure ukuthi ugruma as much as he's educating these people, but groom a clique ezoba nale mindset ezophusha le agenda. It did not develop an agenda, which is another video for some other time. We need to have tea and talk about the agenda yabantu abamnyama because ayikho. Yabo. So i-poverty trauma iyona le yenza loo nto leyo ukuthi we have great leaders, but now at the end of the day, they get exposed because they got hungry and started flexing. Ngoba phela manje, when you get hungry and you do something illegal, then you owe somebody. Somebody needs to keep a secret, and then it becomes a pyramid of people lefanele ungabathinti ngoba bazokuveza ukuthi ubuganga la, yabo. And then bese ubona ukuthi ke izinto azenzeki all across Africa because everybody knows everybody's dirty laundry and nobody wants to get exposed. Yabo. It's a big problem. Poverty trauma. Scheiß gegen pants. Yabo. Scheiß gegen pants. Poverty problem. And you know, it gets so bad. Now we go to the discussion that I had yesterday with the girls. Is that you become afraid to make a business decision. Ngoba you are ubuka ukuthi if I make this decision and it fails, ngizolamba. You can't look at the aspect of it. If I make this decision right now, I'm going to get a hectic contract, ngizothola imali, ngizoba successful. Your first instinct is ukuthi yo mangikhipha le mali ngi-investa kule nto yazi ngizolamba. So it comes to a point where we can't even take risks. We can't take risks because we have this trauma of poverty, and it's I can't. Like you can't unthink it. You can't. We are afraid of being poor so much because I think we've had the taste of being poor, so now we don't want to go back there. And then you go back and you say, okay, let me look at all the people who have wealth in Tlabeni. You know. Where's this book? Okay, I took it. Oh, I borrowed somebody else. Okay. Anyway, I was reading about Getty. John Paul Getty. John Paul Getty, here's a very funny thing. Ubaba John Paul Getty was a poor somebody. Why seven's in Masonto laba, you know. And then he met this lady. I forgot her name. Umaga John Getty. And she was a trust fund baby. Took this man wamhambisa varsity. Baba John Paul Getty ufundisa umaga John Paul Getty, umaga Getty nje, you know. And I'm thinking to myself, here's a woman who took a risk wahamba ufundisa indoda. Tshele ukuthi abantu abamnyama bayengena le, you know. And I was saying this yesterday at the dining table, and they were like, "Wait, ngeke ngibone, ngeke ngibone," you know. So you have when on a poverty trauma, you are afraid to risk on another person. Yeah. Now imagine if ulo mama lo wakaGetty was a typical black woman. Wathi nje ngiyeke nje ngibone mina ngithatha imali yami ngifundisa indoda. Imagine you wouldn't have the Getty Oil dynasty uh, and the Getty Oil Trust Fund le ebiza imali yama-billions kumanje in dollars. You would not have that family yakaGetty if the woman made a decision right there and then. But she did. She took a risk on this man. What as in, I see potential this nigga. Akahamba ufunda. Wahamba ufunda wabuya wasebenza bakho umuzi wabo umnciyana bathiwa le ngane le. And then he goes on some other uh, project, legal case ngale wafica kuthengwa ngemihlaba. Wathi ngamthenga umhlaba laphana kuleya ndawo leyana esondele indawo ezino-oil. Asithenge nathi iplot. Yabo. Yaphuma ku-trust fund kamama futhi imali. Kwathengwa leyo plot of land. 2 years later they find ukuthi oh actually ikhona i-oil la. They started drilling oil. Qala kanjalo-ke ilokhuzana. I-wealth yasekhaya. Qala kanjalo i-wealth yasekhaya. The Getty Oil company was even operating Middle East. They were the first to do it there. They were manipulating politics in Middle East to make sure they get oil rigs into that place. They literally controlled the global political climate at that time. Yeah. Standard Oil Rockefeller operated after yabo sekukhona leyo nto leyo. But Rockefeller was not much interested on doing things overseas. It was later on, but John Getty was more of a pioneer about that thing. So a dynasty was developed. Wealth, because people did not dwell on Uti. The other person is poor. Yeah. And then you go back to Rockefeller. No, Rockefeller is going back to that point earlier. Way. With what happens if umuntu engenandaba nengane zakhe. Ubaba ka Rockefeller was a hustler, a huckster. Ohambe iganga la ehambe edayisa izinto emgaqweni, ahambe ekhaya, ashiye ekhaya ahambe mhlawumbe phela iminyaka noma phela inyanga eziwu-7 yabo. Abuye mayibuyile amithisa umama ahambe. That's what John Rockefeller's father was. Yabo. But what happened? Instead of ukuthi umama lo agxile ekutheni ukuthi le ndoda le iyinja. I don't want him next to me. I don't want these kids to know their father. She allowed the children to have a relationship with their father. And that's where Lokhuzana, Rockefeller learned certain tricks about business. Yeah. And he took a risk naye with his savings ukuthi athole loya mhlaba that he didn't know had oil or what involved. Yeah. So he had his first oil rig. And then he realized, no. Everybody's drilling for oil, but who's refining? We started oil. He started refining oil in the States. Yeah. Built an empire, Rockefeller. Even to this day, you still hear about the Rockefeller. Yeah. But it goes back to that person lo ongavumanga ukuthi i-poverty trauma ithi yazi le ndoda le iyabheda ifika la ingihluphekise ney'ngane. I need to go find me another husband. Ngikhohlwe indaba yakhe. Or angifuni ukuthi azayithinta iy'ngane zami. Wapatanisa umfazi ney'ngane la. Indoda ifika idlule. Yabo. And they are somewhere else now. Yabo. So we can't create situations of wealth because of this poverty trauma. We are so afraid of being poor, we can't even think straight. Even nalabantu laba, Very good example leyo futhi u-ND. A very good example. Yabo. And they are a thriving family. Now, I was saying, ukuthi, we can't think straight because we are so afraid ukuthi sizoba poor. We just can't. And it even goes to abantu, let's say, who have got wealth, ne? Ekhaya ukhule kunamatekisi. Ni-rich ekhaya. Yabo. But here's the thing. Awusakwazi ukubona ekhaya ukuthi si-rich because everybody else, excuse me, everybody else in your community is poor. So you are surrounded by poor people. And you look down on them. Maybe you don't look down on them, but the biggest issue that you're going to have is that you're going to look at their lives and think to yourself, yo, angfis. You know, I don't want to see myself being poor. But now here's the thing. A typical response of a black child coming from a rich family is a couple of things will happen. It will maybe long answer decide to mean I don't want to have friends about poor. Especially if umndeni uzokuthatha le ngane uyifake e-boarding school eko-Michael House. Hayi-ke uzoyibona emhlolo. It's going to be a clever black little child there. Or it's going to have amangani abaningi ezama ukuthi iba-supplement ngomcebo wasekhaya abazali bengazi. But manje iba-supplementele ey'ntweni eyi-wrong because we have this perception ukuthi if you are rich then you must have fun. Kumele impilo yakho icebezele. So uzobaphuta imadlisa, thatha imali esekhaya athengele abangani bakho utshwala every weekend bakhiphe yosho agcine kuhle imali yamatekisi la ekhaya. Yabo. Kudliwa imali yamathenda la ekhaya. Bangani bazi ukuthi nje masibhorekile Thabana uzemfethu sambeni. Yabo. Thabana afike neviyano kababa wakhe eyilokhuzana ewu-coachman. Hlale lapha hambe behle benyuka. Belanda iy'ngane. And this man, exactly. And then they learn drugs and they learn all those kind of things. Because poverty trauma. If you buy poverty around you and it traumatizes you, yo, angifisi ukuba njengalapha. Or let me keep my friends at least bengekho poor or appear. That's not a problem. Poverty trauma yethu is shy so much. We are obsessed with appearances. The way black people are obsessed with looking like right is yo. But I'm a psychologist will tell you that's a science at trauma now. People want to appear as if they're fine, even after an accident. Umuntu will have an accident, athuke imthusa accident, and they will claim ukuthi bona they are okay. Esho umuntu umlenze nqamukile. So in the case of black people and this poverty trauma, you find that we are obsessed with looking a certain way. Because in the back of our minds, we think ukuthi ugqoka kahle means ukuthi you are doing okay. Why are you so obsessed? My Italian shoes, Italian clothes, all these things. Spend so much money. My DMD. Dlama Brentwood laphana. Venetian wool. Busy. Yabo. Yeah, because poverty trauma, Tanya, poverty trauma tells you ukuthi, yo, I don't want to look like I'm poor. That's all it is. It's not because khona into ebenzela bona abantu abamnyama ukugqoka lezi zinto expensive. Ayikho into ebenzelayo because the objective yokugqoka is to cover your body. yabo. It's such a weird thing, you know. There are also learned ukuthi yazini lento yokuthatha imali uhambe ufuhleka imali lapha, like I don't do that thing anymore. I don't have time. I don't do the thing. I don't have time to be going out and buying clothes. Anginasikhathi nje salowo nto leyo. Thatha imali nginikeze ama-Italian, nginikeze ama-Shayina. No. Keep it simple. Plain clothes. Faka isikibha sami esi-plain, faka igolfa yami e-plain. Anginasikhathi nje. It's not even expensive. Phone nje. Phone nje spend imali. For what? So that I look like right. Ayi. Funeka. You know. But it just tells me ukuthi we have this trauma and we are refusing to address it. Yabo. It's bad because yabona futhi nje le yama-appearances imbi kakhulu. Abantu baze bashaya ngama-store account amade. Umuntu ahluleke ukuthenga i-store account manje because busy. Mayadlula ya-Truworths nje. Uyathatha. Angisho ukuthi ngithini but ngiyibone kakhulu leyo kuma-old and girls today. Ayi abashaya leyo they go into any clothing shop abuye nengubo because yazini inhle le nto engiyibone laphana ngifuna abantu bangibone ngiphinde into eyodwa. Yeah. You don't want to look like you are poor. We decide ukuthi i-appearance yomuntu is a determining factor of their standing financially or socially for that matter. Yabo. Uma kuthiwa sasifuna uba nemali eningi wesiwe, kwathiwa sasifuna uba nemali eningi, ngabe siyabuka ukuthi yazini into yokuspenda is completely opposite to imali eningi. But abantu have been sold this dream ukuthi spending money means you have a lot of money. But it's money living, it's money out. Anyway, Sanga. But you can do that. You can influence people kalula if been a trauma because they're not thinking. They're operating on adrenaline. Yabo. Too much adrenaline in our bloodstream, too much hormones or the addiction of my hormones or my endorphins and what's the other one? Yabo? What's this one? Khona lena ithanda kakhulu. Dopamine. Addictions. Yabo. Because we want to feel good as if something is going on and nothing is going on. Yabo. Now, it's a poverty trauma there. Abantu come to a point where they don't want to do izinto structurally ezolungisa umphakathi wethu. When granted ukulungisa umphakathi wethu is going to be a very daunting task and we need to do it sooner than later. But amadoda nemali can't get together and do it because they have a fear ukuthi if they take their money and invest it in the black community izocwila basale bengenalutho. Or they might upset their white friends ababafake ey'ntweni and then basale bengenantwana. That's the situation. Poverty trauma. Yebo. It's a problem. uMaponga la, I think nemazi uMaponga. uMaponga talks about how kuvala ama-factory kukhandwa amasonto. That's another poverty trauma. Yabo. We are letting the situation happen because we have this trauma of poverty. Abantu want to go to the church to feel like everything is okay when it isn't. There's a God somewhere who's doing things, who's pulling strings, who will make it fine. Yeah. So, nje, let's build the church. Yeah. Poverty trauma is hectic, and we need to deal with it. We need to deal. I hope ukuthi one day we'll have discussion. Angathi abantu abamnyama can have sit down and have a therapy session. Siyixoxe le ndaba njengoba sengiyixoxa kanje. Because I know very few people get what I'm trying to say and understand it and use it. Some people think I'm too hard. Yabo. But le nto engishoyo is not coming from a place ukuthi ngiyacabangela nje. It's inspired. You know. But I don't need to tell you that. Ngoba njengoba nihlela emkhisoneni, I'm sure i-memorandum inayo. So, poverty trauma, it's so bad. So bad, so much ukuthi la ekutheni sigananeni. That's the, I think, the crux of this issue is that we cannot form family units because we are afraid of being poor. Usaba uthatha ingane yabantu ngoba uzoyilambisa. You're not sure about your financial situation and where it's going. Ingane yabantu isaba ukugana because they don't want to depend on the man for anything. Yabo. Ingane yabantu ayifuni ukugana because ayifuni ukulahlekelwa i-option ukuthi la madoda awu-16 afake ama-e-wallets aqhubeke nokufaka ama-e-wallets. Yabo. Ulova akafuni ukuganwa because we understand ukuthi maseganwa izoba ncane imali yokudla ifebe. Yabo. Manje kufanele be responsible. Yabo. That's another problem, big problem. We don't want to be responsible because being responsible is expensive. Yabo. Poverty. Yabo. Very, very, we become very protective of yourself because manje uyasaba ukuthi mangizocommita kulo muntu lona ngizokhipha inkahlankahla yamalobolo, ngizokhipha inkahlankahla yezibizo nani. So at the end of the day, isikweletu lesi. Yabo. And to make matters worse, we grow up in a society where uma uyindoda wazi ukuthi ekhaya umsebenzi wakhe lo iphoketheni keep imali. The only time ubaba simazi ngoba yabo. Otherwise baba does not exist mangenzi kanje yabo. It goes to this aspect of uthando. I-definition yothando kubantu abamnyama incike kakhulu kwi-poverty trauma yabo yokuthi if ungithanda then there needs to be a financial transaction. They express uthando, you know. I was telling my cousin this over the holidays, sihamba sibhizi ukuthi i-dynamic yakhe nobaba wakhe ibhlungu because yena she went to therapy but baba wakhe azangayi. Yabo. And he will never understand ukuthi the issue here has never been ukuthi there's no financial exchange. Of course, she's crying ukuthi ubaba wouldn't give me imali mangidinga imali kwesikoleni. But at the foundation of this thing, ukuthi ubaba was not there for her as physically as a person or emotionally. There was no emotional connection to her dad. Yabo. So iyona leyo nto le eyamlimaza. And it has affected her kuma marriages zakhe. Yabo. So she's divorced twice, I think she said. Yeah. So now i-poverty trauma yamalume ukuthi bayakhula kanzima. Inheritwa ugirl because manje omalume bakhula kanzima. So manje being responsible and giving this money to this child every month is a no because manje I have less money for my own things. Yabo. And she selfish ke lo muntu. Yabona nje selfishness yakhe, hey, uyayibona. And uzokutshela ukuthi u-selfish yena angaboni ukuthi akutshela ukuthi u-selfish, but yeah, that's what he has become. He had to become selfish because he grew up in a very tough way. Bengenakho ukuthi nokuthi 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 yabo. Now, it's sad because it made him deny ingane yakhe access to his love in a proper sense. Now, here's a kicker. The kicker of this thing is that when he needs to communicate ukuthi ingane yakhe ayithanda, hayi ngizokuthengela ukuthi. Like, what the hell is wrong with black people? What does money have to be such a thing? Ukuthi you are not going to apologize and say you are wrong lapha nalapha lapha. Uzothi hayi uzongipha u-5,000, uzongipha u-500. What is that nonsense? You're not going to say ukuthi ngiyakuthanda mntanami. Hayi asihambe sothenga ingubo. What is it? What, like, ithini leyo nto leyo? I don't know why black people are so obsessed with these things. Zokuthi uthande but lube i-financial transaction. I just don't get it. But again, it goes back to poverty trauma. Ukuthi wena, what stood between you and living the life that you want is poverty. And we understand, we have this idea that poverty will be extinguished ngemali. So when we say we love you to somebody, sibanika imali, 10 rand. 90% of you, ama-parents enenze njalo. Ngingaze niwazi ama-parents enentshela ukuthi ayantanda. But you've seen your parents give you money. Never, ever have your parents telling you bayantanda. But imali, yithi. And you had to guess. But there's another aspect of this poverty trauma is that it gets black children to a point where they have to guess their relationship with their parents, which leads to most of black children misunderstanding their parents. Yeah. Abane nomzali, because umzali does not know how to communicate his love to you. Ukunikeza imali. Yabo. And 9 out of 10 times, it's not imali odinga ngumzali. Sometimes you need advice. But manje umzali is not discerning enough to see what is something wrong with you. And does not have the patience enough to sit down and say, ngiyakubona ukuthi konke ekudlayo, what's going on, mntanami? Yabo. Yeah, exactly. Injalo enti. This transaction of money. That's why you have those blessed relationships in the first place, because even ekhaya ingane ikhula lento ukuthi mangithanda kumele nginuke imali. Poverty trauma. It's bad. It's really bad. It's so. I know we were saying earlier ukuthi religion is bulele. The other thing is land poverty, and we're not dealing with it. And it's in the fabric of our being. We can't even move. We can't breathe because of poverty. Sisabe poverty. Isibambe kanje. I'll tell you the other dynamic of this thing. A black child izosuka kubo iyofunda for 7 years. Not because they attend about the hotel. No. But ingoba poverty ekhaya. This is why you have doctors who are sometimes negligent. This is why you have doctors who get so stressed out by ophuza. They hate this damn job. And they drink like fishes every day. Because they ended up in a thing that they actually did not want. It's either they were pushed by a fear of poverty, or they were pushed by a need yokuthi bakhombise ukuthi bona they are doing better than everybody else. Because there's another thing. black children go to school for two reasons. Uxosha ikati eziko nokuzeza ngcono kunabanye. That's all. It's very rare and far between ukuthi la uzothola khona abantu abamnyama who go to study something because they actually it's their passion. We don't even know ukuthi what is the passion in our damn society as black people. Uma ukhuluma nge-passion, abantu abamnyama bazi ukuthi ukhuluma ngani. Yabo. Now, poverty trauma so they say it's got us by the balls. Ngaleyo ndlela ukuthi we even going into izinto esingayifuni because we are poor. So many, like I said, so many people here are going into teaching and they hate teaching. But it's a safe bet if you want a job. I sit around and I talk to little kids about Funge Varsity. And I'll ask them, why are you doing this course? Do you like this course? Abo. And the thing that it plays over and over again, ukuthi these kids want a cause ezibangenisela umsebenzi. Because ekhaya kune poverty. Yabo. So how are these black children going to invent things and imagine things when they are doing studies that they are not interested in? This is why, by the way, kuze kube namhlanje lento engikhuluma ngayo. Lento engikhuluma ngayo nje kuze kube namhlanje. There's no paper. But we have so many psychologists and psychiatrists abamnyama, ama-sociologists. Agcwele. But there's no paper talking about this thing that I'm discussing. Eyenziwe umuntu omnyama. Why are they not doing the research and dealing with these issues that are attacking the black community? Because it can't be ukuthi uzohlala ufunde psychology, uziqede o-Sigmund Freud, bani. And then you think to your head ukuthi I'm going to apply these ideas zabelungu and treat them as if their life experience is the same as ours. Yabo. At what point are you going to sit there and decide, you know what? What are the sociology issues that are affecting black people? What are the psychological issues? What are black children going through from birth to death? How are the interrelationships in the families in the black? And look for solutions around that. Do a study. Exactly, Sonia. Exactly. Do a study. When are your psychologists and psychiatrists, Madam Nyama, going to sit down and do a study on this thing? Like, I'm not even a psychologist, but I sit and look at the world and basikhuluma nabantu abadala sibonzane ngalento. And you know, I literally, it's not my forte, but look at what we're talking about. You can't dismiss it. It's in every fabric of our society, and it's an issue. Where is the scholarly work that covers this thing? And covers this thing, and when are we going to sit down and look for solutions? Because poverty trauma is not a joke. And if it continues like that, like this, we're gonna have problems. Because I'll tell you what, right now we are reaching where no one is going to be working in a factory anymore. The only people who are going to be working in a factory now, the only people who are going to be in a factory are people who are able to program robots and maintain robots and design robots. Those are the only people who are going to be in the factory, and they will be sitting behind a computer. I'm a robot and saying, oh, baba benu laba who go to a factory every morning about assembly imoto. We are paying umsebenzi wabo. They're not going to be needed. You know, because we are sitting down we are looking at automation. Like I was looking at izinto ezenziwa ama-robot manje, and I'm thinking, yo, this thing is hectic. Yabo. So because of fear yokuthi nizoba poor, you got yourself stuck into these positions where you must work for somebody. You need to work, you need to find work, you need to find work. You're not thinking, okay, in this world, imisebenzi ukhandwa ukuthi you have to manufacture something. You have to create a solution to a problem. Yabo. You don't want to sit around and create solutions and develop them and create companies. Andifuni, niyabaleka. Hlala umuntu, an intelligent somebody, ahlale for years looking for a job. Rather sit down and look for a job than do something. Innovate something or whatever. Develop something. We have a power crisis in this country, mabesho. But you were saying, Uti, there's a lot of white companies that have come up, abazobama independent power producers. Yet we have so many black electrical engineers. Yeah, but why are they not sitting and thinking, okay, we have a power crisis. What solutions can we do? So import our solutions from overseas. Um, it would have made sense. Ukuthi instead of ukuthi kwakhiwe umedupi, kuqale kulungiswa amalokuza lama power stations abavala amadala. Would have made sense. It would have been better. It would have been cheaper. It would have sorted the problem. Because the way amabhunu ayidesigne ngayo grid is that each province had a power station or 2 or 3. Yabo. And ubone ukuthi umsangano udeep kangakanani. uThabo decided to decommission power stations just purely because they wanted to look like they are a developing country that is forward thinking, ehlakaniphile, that wants to cut global emissions. And forgot ukuthi, okay, we have these millions of black people who have been poor all their lives. Yabo. We need to think in terms of how do we build an economy for them. Because you look at China, China didn't come out. When manje China does not have time for these things. I'm a global agenda ukuthi emissions and whatnot. They don't care about the environment in China. I look at indaba ukuthi how do we create sustainable wealth for our people? And once it's developing that wealth, then we start innovating. Yabo. And now they're innovating. They're coming up with things. I-West iyaxakeka manje ukuthi China is taking over 5G. Manje sebebanga 6G. They woke up the next morning, Huawei is owning all the international networks. Basazi manje ukuthi hayibo. Infrastructure elokuzana ema-networks Huawei. It's either Huawei or ZTE. Yabo. Oh, Broadcom, they decided to end up selling my chips. Oh, ban. Oh, Cisco, then, yabo. But here you are. You know, you're in a country where the government thought it was okay to sell Vodacom to a foreign entity. Yabo. Whereas Vodacom would have been better off being part of Telkom in the first place and move forward from there and expand it. But I'm just saying, people are operating from a poverty center and they have these fears, they're afraid. That's why we behave so fucked up, because at the back of your mind, you are afraid ukuthi you might lose method yokudla kusasa. And you see white kids. White kids are very interesting to me. That a white kid will risk it. Will risk it. Ahambe ekhaya. Ishiye ekhaya engenalutho. Ahambe la emapipini. And they will hustle until they find something. Because his thing is, he's not thinking about poverty. He's thinking about his passion with what he wants in his life. Yeah. Black people can't do that because the only thing you are thinking, Monty, yo, is Olamba. Is Olamba. That's the only fear. And it controls all your ideas and the things that you think about. Poverty, trauma, very, very big thing. It's a very big thing. And I'm doing it a disservice by talking about it here in a long discussion. It's a big thing and it's been going on for years. And black people think they're okay. That's the biggest problem. They don't see the symptoms. They don't see the symptoms. They have a psychological trauma at deep. That's why you're drinking so much. Every day you are drinking. What is this addiction to alcohol unless if it's a symptom of some psychological thing? Exactly. Injalo Tony and Tech. That's just how it is. Everybody else is thinking of a business. Everybody's thinking of a solution. How to get money into my hands. Black people are thinking about how to spend money. Every day you're thinking, well, I need to buy this, I need to buy that. As mangawini lotho ngizothenga ukuthi. Siyalamba because indaba ine-trauma la. Ephumile i-trauma yokuthi sake salamba. Yabo. Basishaya basiphuca umhlaba, hawu. Basivalela. Hayi manje sesisaba ngisho. Yabo. Bangibuza abantu abamnyama ukuthi abelungu basahlaleleni la. Basahlaleleni abalungu la eSouth Africa. E-Africa nje basafuna nabelungu la. Bazokutshela ukuthi sodlani. That's the first thing they tell you. Mina angiboni kabe yami ukuthi abelungu bahambe ngoba manje iyophela yonke imisebenzi. Asho njalo. Not thinking what to do, creating more solutions for ourselves. And those who are thinking about creating solutions for ourselves, they don't have the capital. Because there's no rich black person out there who's looking out for black youth and my ideas and fund them. They call that venture capitalists. Go to the United States, there's a lot of venture capitalism. And China are thriving on venture capitalism. They are a communist country, but they are thriving on venture. China, who is looking out for youth. Oh, you have this brilliant idea. Okay. Present idea. Okay. Fine. 2 million, 2 billion will find you. Now my students in this university, they must come and work on this idea now. Government gets 60%, you get 40%, you're still a billionaire at the end of the day. But in this continent, where there's black people, like anywhere there's black people in any black community, there's no one who's saying, okay, yeah, see. Yeah, but banesibindi. Yes, the thing enhlekisa kakhulu. Abantu abanyama banesibindi sokuthi bathi yazi lezi ngane lezi ezayihlakaniphile esikoleni what happens to them? Yindaba bengaphumeleli. Banesibindi sokusho njalo bantu abamnyama. You never hear that from any other community. Anyone in any community outside the black race owayehlakaniphile esikoleni has gotten to their highest potential because there's backing. Kunamabhasari emhlabeni nje, it was not a black person's idea. It's another form of investment eqhamuka from i-community yabelungu, where they realize ukuthi yazini sivalela ngaphandle i-potential ngoba ama-university ayabiza. So iy'ngane ezihlakaniphile sizozikhandela iskimu sokuthi siyilekelele. So the rich men came together, bakhanda ama-scholarships, bakhanda amabhasari. Find the black people here in this country, the best thing they can do is bathenge iy'cathulo zey'ngane ema-primary. Abe unikela ngey'cathulo. But you don't see them in high schools doing anything. They're not going around looking for iy'ngane ezine-potential and taking them. Some of the private schools that white people developed was because of that. Ukuthi they'll find ukuthi inengane ehlakaniphile ey'ndaweni ele ezingenama-facilities, and they'll give them a scholarship and take care of them via lesi sikole sabo. Nje injalo ke Thanya, yabona ukuthi ama-objectives anjani, because a person who has poverty trauma does not think along those lines. Yeah, they need to have this thing as about khohlisa ukuthi baphuwe, you know. Injalo ke Thanya, that's a big question. uRwanda ngempela, but you know what, I'm guessing futhi engibonile ukuthi it's going to take a lot for black people to change. That's why nami when I talk here ngiyazi ukuthi ngiyakhuluma nje, but I always say ukuthi there's nothing enganenzela yona abantu abamnyama, because umuntu eniyomlalela mhlawumbe uyozalwa 100 years from now, kumele kwenzeke something drastic for you to get the message. Yabo. Some of the things mhlambe esengikayikhuluma nje, if you were right ni discerning nonke, ngabe seyi-viral lezi zinto lezi engikhuluma la, and you are doing something. Yabo. But no, mhlawumbe izobe viral mhlawumbe 5 years sengingasekho nokuba khona kule nto, sengibheke okunye. But that's the condition of black people. Poverty trauma iyasibulala kakhulu, and isicindezela ukuthi singakwazi ngisho ukunyakaza, bakithi hey ibuhlungu leya nto, kanti nikwazi ngisho ukuthandana because ne-poverty. Why you can't choose a mate because you are afraid ukuthi if ngijola nomuntu ongenamali, uma ngijola umuntu onemali ngizolamba, and then ujola umuntu onemali akufaka empama every day, then you wanna cry. No. It's bad. It's really bad. I'm looking at your comments here. Yabona ukuthi le ndaba yami inhlamba umqhele. Yeah, yabona ke Thanya, we understand impela le nto le, because impela i-poverty trauma, because iba individualism, ngoba poverty tells you what you need to survive. Now, as a survivalist mentality says every man is for himself. That's how it becomes individualistic. That's why We can't get together and do things. We can't be collective. Kuzovula isiphaza, ubaba Dlamini avula isiphaza elokishini and sisebenza ukuthi sosebenza uyothenga ubaba Dlamini every day. Sivale siwe isiphaza sababa Dlamini and we don't collectively wonder why, you know, or try to assist him to get back on his feet, you know. In some cases, we don't even go there until Ubaba Dlamini azothathe abeke i-Somalian or Pakistani, then sesigcwala khona. Bayathwala impela ngoba basaba ukubaphuka. Basaba baphuka. They want to guarantee ukuthi nakanjani ngeke bawaphuka. Manje if you go to umuntu osaba ukuba ubaphuka, uya kuyena umtshela ukuthi yazini, mina ngizokugarantela ukuthi ngeke uhlupheke. Kepha ukuze ubungawazi ungahlupheki, ube negaranti ukuthi ngempela le mali uzoyithola every month, uzosiza ungibulalele abantu abawu-3 ngenyanga. Of course, umuntu osaba ukuhlupheka will think about it. Zife iy'ngane zabantu. Inyamala iy'ngane zabantu zingatholakali kanti abantu bathola ngazo. Just because people can't deal with this trauma yokuthi i-poverty ibahlaselile. Was that him? I think it was 2010. I was listening to this guy. He's an engineer, and he was telling a very interesting story ukuthi elokishini babe so poor kubo. Kwathi ngelinye ilanga ubaba wabo wabuya ne-hose pipe ayiphiwe, and because ayekho umuntu wane-hose pipe lapha ngakubo at that time, wayevele nje athi ngangivele ngiphume nje ngixhume i-hose pipe nje ngithelele into engekho just to show people ukuthi sine-hose pipe. You know, you laugh at it, but then you realize just how deeply hectic this thing is, because the next statement was ukuthi yazi yabo manje, looking back in that life angiyifisi yabo, so I'm doing anything that I can ukuthi-ke iy'ngane zami azibi naso simo leso yabo. Yeah, injalo Gracious, injalo impela bayabulalana. That's why I'm saying, I'm not coming here to save you. Abantu abamnyama ningizwe kahle, angize lizonisindisa mina. Don't even try me. I'm telling you these things. I'm not saying ukuthi-ke nizozenza. I am not worried. I'm not gonna go out there ngenza ama-workshop sorry, nina niyabulala nina. Anyone ulethwe emhlabeni ukuthi azonikhipha la ehluphekeni, niyambulala. So nje siyaxoxa nje bakumnandi ukuxoxa, but qhubekani lani la obonayo ukuthi kuyasebenza lokhu, good for them, but nina angize uzoniphoqa khulekani, no. Siba abantu abamnyama le nto leyo Gracious, siba kabi. And even naleya nto leyana kaJesus nesiphambano, mina ngibuka ngathi leya ndoda leyana kwakumuntu. Abantu abamnyama kuphela benza leya nto leya, abakubulalela ukuthi uyasindisa abantu. Hawu. I don't see anyone else doing something like that. Just wena ngoba ukhuluma into ehlukile, so yisitha sekuba uchunywa emthini. Yeah, it just sounds like something that black people would do. I'm sorry. But yeah, they've killed every leader who come here. Oh, Malcolm X, oh, Thomas Sankara. Anybody who has come in with a super mind and tried to push black people forward, they kill him. Injalo into. Wazashona. Uzodlula emhlabeni. Bake bamuzwa yini? Ngoba sibabili sibathatha sike samuzwa ukuthi wayithini. Even nabantu abayifundile ilokhuza la iy'ndaba lezi ekuthiwa wayibhala. Hey, that's funny. Hayi ugcine namahlaya. Hayi nama hayi cha ngiyakuzwa. Nambulalele wayini ugcine madoda. Hayi. Ngeke ungithuse mfundani wami. Ngeke ungithuse. Niyabulala nini? Niyabulala. No, abantu abalaleli endini. Abalaleli. Mfunda ukukhohlisa. And mina nje futhi I'm not gonna even cry about it ngoba ngazi kahle. Even ekhaya la ngihlala khona abalaleli. Yabo. Umuntu uyamtshela ukuthi hayibo basofa leya nto leya. Uzolimala. Yabo. Umfowethu wayengihlekisa ukuthi hayi sasebancane athi hayi wena bafu uyahlupha into uyibona isekude kakhulu ukuthi iyabheda. Mina ya ndoda basopa. Yabo. Uyakwazi ukubona mina into esazaleyo ukuthi oh hayi lokhu-ke avoid. Yabo. But you tell black people ukuthi hayibo kuyabheda. Sukumani. 5 years time into ekuthiwa umsebenzi sobe ingasekho. Your accounting, your bani, whatever you think you are doing, edinga wena, kuphela leyo nto because we are creating artificial intelligence. Siyayi-trainer every day to do things engabe senziwa abantu. Because the idea is to take you out of the equation. Kuyaphela. Even odokotela, some odokotela they think ukuthi they are indispensable. We are training robots kwamanje to do operations are critical. And success rate here robot is going to be higher because ayinalo idumbe. It's going to be more precise. Yabo. So who wouldn't settle for a robotic doctor? By the time you ever get too comfortable, this is where the world is moving. You need to sit down and stop thinking about your poverty. It's time to go ahead and take some risks. Do something. Injalo gcina. Makuyikhulunywa umlungu hayi bayithatha. Bayithatha mekhuluma umlungu. Umlungu nje make wathi nje yazini ngibone lapha ngaphesheya kothukela kunamadumbe amahle kabi. Asambeni sowakha. Kanti abazi ukuthi uthukela ngiyangenisa nelokhuzane nengwenya. Kabatshela umlungu ukuthi kunengwenya la uthukela. Bazwe nje ukuthi umlungu uthi kunamadumbe ngaphesheya kothukela bagijima baya khona baphelele emanzini. Asala umlungu uthatha iy'nkomo zabo. inzima kabi le nto leyo ukuthi yini ngempela lento egcotshwe umlungu eyenza ukuthi umuntu omnyama alutheke. Bagcobeni abelungu, yini bagqabe ngani le ngaka yenza ukuthi nisangane noma nibhekene nabo? And usuzovele utype la ama-symptoms akho ikutshele ikhompyutha ukuthi hhayi uphethwe ukuthi ikuskene ngekhamera la ekhona la. Amawashi sekhona amawashi manje akwazi ukutshela nama-heart rate yonke into le. Next thing izokutshela from your wrist ukuthi wena usune-T_B bese kusendela i-order lamaphilisi le i-deliver into ekuseni la amaphilisi akho okuqeda i-T_B. G_P gone. Injalo Sonia, jaha abelungu, shaya abelungu pyramid schemes. Yabona-ke Gracious, injalo lokhuzana Tanya, ilapho leyo nto leyo. Those are the only spheres of work that are left. There. Those are the only spheres. But you see, really, when you look at it, is that you understand i-position yabantala ukuthi when it's all said and done, yonke le nciphi leyo doing work, ama-revolution, intini, industrial revolutions, wonke lawa ama-industrial revolutions asenzekile, at the end of the day, they're pointless. The only purpose yomuntu emhlabeni ukuthi azalwe, aphile, azalise, ashone. Now, yonke le midlalo esiyenziswa abelungu imidlalo yokusangana. Mina, I take things that happen outside of the sphere of nature as retardation. It's a mental issue. Now, we have bought into this mental retardation yabelungu. Fine. But i-progression yabo, mina ngiyayibona ukuthi it's going back to square one because at the end of the day, i-AI iyobuka ukuthi the best solution is actually to destroy everything and start afresh. Yezwa-ke ilapho nje lapho gcina nje your-G_P umsebenzi wakho is on the line. Everybody's work is on the line. Yabo, the only people abazama nomsebenzi ama-musicians, because funny enough you can create music technology but it's just not capable of doing music ngendlela enziwa umuntu ngayo, because music is a type of, okay, angachaza ngichaza ngelinye ilanga indaba music, but yeah, anyway guys, sesixoxile after a very long time. I'm waiting for my camera. Hopefully it will deliver in less than 2 months. And then we can have a proper situation, because I prefer to do things in black and white and yaznan. And color. Buka-ke Thanya-ke, mina-ke ngifuna ukuthi one of these days work out ukuthi how these data centers, how making one can cost and make it a business. Yabo? And lease it out to Amazon. Babe nama-data center Africa. I bet already they have something in Cape Town. No Google ayafuna ama-data center. No Microsoft ayafuna ama-data center. Yabo? Mali. Yo. It's very sad, shame. Because like le dance mina, yeah, mangibuka some days ukuthi hey as ibuhlungu le dance because it really counts for nothing. It serves no purpose. At the end of the day, it serves no purpose. But well, I guess let's do it. Yeah, ngikuza lokhuzana ncango indaba yama-chakras and meditation. Yeah, I will do it. No, I will do it. Just siphazamisekile phela manje ngoba asina DSLR lana sesihlupheke nje. Njalo, Gracious, we don't want to change mentality. We don't want to change. Like I would say, black people don't want to change anything. They want to talk about things. They want to write papers about how they understand things. But the actual work of doing to change it, yeah, at all. They don't want. Bafuna. They are comfortable with the position abakuyona of being servants. Yeah, I kept telling already they started there. Exactly, Andy. Andy, the idea of robots taking over. You can rest assured, which is what I'm saying. You know why? Because abantu who are doing the code work behind AI, something I'm doing this year. It's something called machine learning. We did it last year actually, because I'm studying it with Google. Machine learning, in code mostly available. That's where most of the AI comes from. And the thing about it is, yonke into ilandela ispirit salowo muntu oyenzayo. And siyasazi ispirit sabelungu. Sihamba kakhulu nokucekela phansi wherever they go bayacekela phansi. So you are guaranteed 10 out of 10 i-AI egcineni izokwenza exactly leyo nto leyo, because the spirit behind the code foundation yayo, it says we are supreme, so we can do whatever we want. I think, Tanya, the first thing is we need to accept that we have trauma. That's the first thing. We need to accept that we have trauma. As black people, we have trauma, and it's serious. We need to stop pretending as if we are okay. Yabona gcina lapha eHollywood. Hey, into yenzeka eHollywood wena. Into yenzeka eHollywood. Uhlezi nje uzama ama-rumors ukuthi kwenzeka some devil worshiping there. Injengoba nje kushiwo. Because here's another thing I learned over the years with him. There's no such thing as imagination. There's no image in nation. Because when you look at etymology of the word imagination, it means that there's a picture and it's in nativity, nation, nativity, the birth of. So it's a compound of birth of an image. Now, image can be sourced into different things. Could be a picture. It could be how you appear or your idea of something. Yeah. There's no such thing as imagination because it doesn't come from outside. It's not something that's based on something that doesn't exist. There has to be an image, you know. You have to have seen this image to give birth to it. Anyway, most of these witches in Hollywood, but Palama scripts, I'm a movie from the things that they've seen in the future. They look into the future and they write the stories. It just does like and the sad thing about it is here's the thing. The sad thing about it is most of them they're not aware because lama demon labo baba babo who are behind them telling them these stories, they're inspired. They say they look for inspiration. You go to the word genius. Jinn, yes. Where is the jinn? The jinn is an Arabic word for a spirit. Yabo, itimon. So lama jinn lawa aba inspire to write these fantastical stories. But they don't tell them Uti actually crystal ball, this is what the future is going to. Yabo. This is what happened in the past and is going to repeat some years later. And then we get excited looking at how amazing it is. Uguti, a movie yango 1970 is turning out today to be an account of what's going to happen. We are get shocked ukuthi movie yango 2010 nangempela nansi virus ikhona. Nabo, they probably don't know. They're just going there to worship the devil, like get high on drugs, and then they write what they see. Yeah. So now, that's what you're dealing with Hollywood. Which witches? Some of the witches actually even they know what they're communing with devils, but they don't know understand the agenda behind it. Yeah. Kuzwayo, awu usekhona? Siyabonga, siyabonga. So Unataya, to elevate our consciousness, we really need to start being true with ourselves. We need to start healing from these things. I think the biggest thing is to stop ukuzidodosa, you see, because black people coddle themselves. They don't want to deal with things as they are. They would rather find a way to blame somebody else. I have a video that I made about Uguti. The thing with black men that is the most esilimaza kakhulu ukuthi black men don't think in terms of dominating the world. Asivuke ekuseni and say, you know what, the world. We don't imagine umhlaba ophethwe abantu abamnyama. This is why it's so easy to manipulate us and for us to not have an agenda and to be caught up in all this shit. Yabo. if we can get up and say, you know what, yazini, asubusa umhlaba manje. Because it's the thing. This is the reason why indoda yomuntu omnyama is the most feared creature emhlabeni. Is it white people? White people are not afraid of inyoka ezibulalayo. They're not afraid of anything. They don't give a shit. They will swim with the sharks. But put a black man, yo, fihle phone yakhe, or walk on the other side of the street, or give a plastic smile. Get very uncomfortable phambana naye emgaqweni nje. Give a black man nje phambana naye, kushintshe imood endlini, yabo. Because something in them knows ukuthi if this man decided to take over, it's over. If black men really decided today, you know what, we are taking over the world, they can do it. And umhlaba ungavuma because it's what they're supposed to be doing in the first place. They are natural to this planet. The planet knows them and they know the planet. Abelong don't have a relationship with the planet. They're just imposing the ideas of their fathers level on the other side, trying to create Izul emhlabeni because they got kicked out of Izul. Like uyabona Mncango, inzima lento ukuthi uzoyibuka izinto uyixwaye when your most concern, your biggest concern is poverty. Yabona abantu abanyama, they look at things and get excited, but bangayi-understand into ukuthi ithini meaning behind it. And they don't care. As long as it's exciting, badlula. I remember ngakubuka i-Avatar. Black people will tell you they love Avatar. It was an exciting movie. Lega lo mfana lo we-Titanic ubani? James Cameron. I-Avatar. Basically, James Cameron there was saying, uthi, hey, look, black people, abelungu bafika and they fucked up this planet. They are coming from some other place. They are running a game on you. And you are busy betraying each other. You need to get up and kick them out. That's what Avatar is. And I was there in New Metro watching this thing, and I came out. I was angry. Abelungu bahlehla bancika ngendonga bangidedela ngaphuma emnyango. I didn't say anything to anyone, but I understood that day with Abelungu know what's going on. It's only black people who are out here just looking at things at face value and getting excited. And they saw me, I saw what that movie was saying. Even their children, they stepped aside. And it just so happens on that evening, because I get a bit hungry, they go to the mall episode, I just happened to be the only one who was watching that movie who was black. Kwathi makhanya amalambu sekuphunywa. Yay, I'm telling you, wangathi kuzophuma inkosi abelungu bemeceleni. And I know for a fact that abelungu are still wondering to this day ukuthi labantu laba ngempela, why are they not taking revenge? Yabo, why do you get angry? Because they know they will be pissed off. They will never let it slide. Ngabe kudala bayilungisa indaba yomqeda ndaba. But black people, they will tell you to your face, Lalela, this is what's going on. And then black people were excited. What a beautiful movie. Oh, one of my favorite movies. Oh, wow. You know. And Paul, you could say, but like I was saying, Paul, maybe it's a different time. Maybe it's a different time, Yabo. but it's the same cast. Still those people behind these white kids. Obaba babo kuseyibona. And they are giving them these ideas. And of course, ekugcineni kosuku, it's going to be their ideas versus the ideas of the creator, which is your organic. Yeah. But then again, that's another story. We have to look at indaba evolution someday. Mina Mncango ngingasho ukuthi-ke masibamba religion, but it's not really a-religion osibamba ngayo. Ilama-rituals eke-religion ezingawanakile. I've said this before in this channel ukuthi manje emasontweni kusuke kuyothalwa ngani. You go there, you surrender your blessings. Ufike uthuke igama likamdali, umbiza ngamagama ungawazi. And you declare yourself an allegiance to a foreign entity ungayazi. That's what's happening in the religions. And then you see ukuthi-ke uzothandazela iFerrari esontweni namhlanje, avuka umlungu eCanada ayothenga ekuseni. Thandazela umuzi ney'ngane zakho ukuthi nihlale kahle, avuka umlungu eCape Town athi, honey, let's go look for a house. Ibhenki ifile approve i-loan. Thenga umuzi ney'ngane zakhe. When uthandaza for 15 years, you ain't got nowhere. And it's so funny because black people will say, oh, uNkulunkulu usebenzele because ukwazi ukuthenga imoto isikweletu. Angathi si-God ekhombisa ukuthi-ke impela yazini unibhekile bafethu aninikeze i-ability ukuthi ni-secure wealth and ihlale ngempela. But you can't get with black people is in case ukuthi wealth doesn't last between generations. 2 generations is a lot to ask in black wealth. There's no dynasty. You see that with some of the Texas families, but some of them akwenzeki because the moment ubaba eshona kuyaxatshanwa kuyahlukana iyahlakazeka inkampani. Like you guys, like I don't understand why black people don't understand this thing. I don't know why I don't understand. Rituals have a meaning. When you walk into a place and they tell you this is a ritual, then you must know what content you must figure out. You must look at the patterns. Look at the reality. It's very funny because banikezele iBhayibheli and the Bible speaks very clearly ukuthi whoever uJehova is akaziye umuntu othi mawuthi ufuna into ingenzeki manje. Yabo? Whoever the Jesus character is, le nto le ayihamba nayo yenza into yenzeke manje. Babebeka izandla kubantu angithi kusukume ishosha kwashacela. Now, where do you get this notion yokuthi this God omkhonzayo uphendula ngendlela where do you get this idea? This is the thing about y'all ukuthi umqondo uhambile because you go and do ama-rituals engingawazi. Hambile umqondo. You know, I'll say ukuthi uMose, not even uMose, uJakobe, uJakobe wayeswela amanzi and uGod wakhe wathi shala kwaqhuma amanzi isiphethu. Azange uthi uJakobe yazini ngizothandazela amanzi for 15 hours and then somehow by some miracle iqhamuke indoda igibele ikabeli izomnikeza amanzi. No. washaya mla kwathiwa shaya la yabo. So I like I always tell black people lalelani, if it's kuyinto fanele uyikhonze, then you must be able ukuthi uyiteste, ukuthi ucommunicate naye ibe la yabo. Unga anyway, I think we are done with our battery there. I think so. I think it's over for our battery. But yeah, anyway. Yabona-ke impilo kaLove inzima kanjani uma ungenayo ikhamera. Okay, I think iphazamisekile. So yeah, that's the thing ukuthi like it's very sad because my ukuthi in very early in my life, and I was like, if there's a deity, then it must be now. Yeah, so there's always been this communication. That's why I always tell you guys, you need to find a way to connect with him directly, and you learn things gradually. Because for me right now, the curve has been to pump me with all this information and break down a lot of my cognitive dissonances that I think now. You know, and I can see where we are heading with it, him or her. Yeah, I can see what kind of things he wants me to do. Some of the things that he's already showed me and pointed me to do, I've done them. Yeah, and I can see impumela. Yeah, but you see, that's the thing. Now, people want to go to a church, well, who know, ukuyokwenza izinto abangazazi. Yeah, hey. Injalo mpho. Injalo. Ntando, no, I'm not saying it's good for us to participate, but I'm saying okay, black people need to take control of the thing before konakale. If black people are intelligent enough, then they must take control of the thing. Yeah, I'm not saying with the AI should be fine. No. But take control of it. In the direction as we touch. The next thing what's going to happen is we're going to have to reset the earth. Must reset the earth. Of course, now, but black people have to be exterminated. Yeah. It would have been better for black people to take over the thing and take control of it, and then find a way to dominate the earth. If you can dominate the earth, then there will be no need to reset. Ngoba ispirit esinaso will find ukuthi azini izinto ey'ningi zidinga uku-deactivate-wa. You don't need to do this, you don't need to do that, you need to do that, you don't need to do that. Because you see, that's the thing. You take, for example, when it comes to building a house, abantu abamnyama bekhanda ngotshani ney'ntingo. Biodegradable materials. Yabo. White people don't understand that concept until now. Thousands and thousands of years later, now they're realizing that black people are onto something here. What have we done? Difference in spirit. sifana ispirit esikuthina. Yabo. Now, it's either we take control of this thing, sibambe, sibuyise, noma sayidedela and hope for the best. Ya, mpho bacasha ngaleyo nto vele. Bacasha ngalo. Kanti the problem is abantu abamnyama bayicorrupta i-meaning ye-respect. They corrupt it. They confuse respect with fear. Ukuthi ngisabe. Yep. You can't challenge umuntu ama-ideas akhe. You're not allowed. Kumele umsabe because it's called respect, but that's another discussion for another day. Yeah, ne. Injalo-ke and yabona uma understand kanjalo-ke uya-understand into ehlezi ngisho. Bantu don't understand this thing. They refuse. They refuse. They refuse. The more black people prayed for salvation, the more they became entrapped in listen to Sabelung. The more they were dominated. We've been praying for freedom. In fact, there's another discussion near DSON. Hopefully in a couple of days. In the freedom. Why are black people so obsessed with freedom? Yini freedom? What do they even know? What is this freedom? We want freedom. Yini freedom? What does it mean? Exactly, Tanya. No, it's not even that. It's not even that. It's not even a possibility. Why people know? Why people know? They know this. They know, and they're afraid of it. But abantu abanyama bezwa. They've been captured. But why people know? If if black people took over, the planet would be in a much better state. Yabo. Indlela zokwenza izinto zingaba ngcono. Look at the pyramids we built. Never mind the pyramids. Look at the things inside the pyramids that have stood the test of time. Umanje, Zikhona. There was no ecosystem devastation anywhere. In fact, some of the pyramids are under amahlathi manje. No vegetation, you can't see them until somebody goes and excavates. Akhona like South Africa, there's a couple of pyramids there, but you can't see them. The same thing that happened in Mexico. They didn't know in Mexico were called pyramids until somebody excavated that area. Babeyibonela intaba nje, yabo. But that's what you get. You know, when you working with this into, they're in tune with nature. Challenge. Hey, Paul, bakungiyathelile kakhulu. Yeah. But it's frustrating, Phil. It's very frustrating, this thing. You know, there's people like, and they will swarm. They'll swarm. If you challenge it, they will swarm at you. There's are in yours. They're catching up. No, man, they're not catching up. They know everything they have done up to this day with science. They have captured from that thing, my pyramids. Yeah. Manje problem ukuthi when you take knowledge uyonikeza abantu aba-corrupt in their minds, they will only think of corruption. Yabo. They know very well. Ukuthi everything they got was from there. Yeah, let's say Japan. Uh-huh. Nalo lelo. Maningi lama pyramids la agcwele yonke indawo, and there are devices. That's what they don't know. They are suspicious though, but they are devices. It's not even a burial chamber because they have never found any sarcophagus inside the pyramid till this day. Anywhere in the world, from Egypt to Chichen Itza, there are no dead mummies inside pyramids. Awekho. Yeah. They don't know the devices with Taiwan, and I'm never gonna tell them. Uh, I think in a couple of years' time, when I've mastered the thing, the Ankh, I will talk about the secret of the Ankh. But it's it's such an interesting thing.